Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Mary. Welcome. We all love you here. Today I'm going to be talking about abortion and how it affects politics here in the United States and just about a certain group of people that if you're familiar with religious trauma, you most likely know something about. To be quite honest with you guys, I'm a little uncertain on my own position on abortion right now. I am in this really weird gray area because I am just kind of a little overwhelmed um, with just, I'm feeling like abortion is just an exhausting topic for me to think too much about, but I was able to think about it for long enough to be able to think through what I was going to say today. Um, I guess I'm still pro-life. I'm just kind of cut off a little bit from the mainstream pro-life movement because I am not a Donald Trump supporter. So there's that, and I just don't know. I don't know. I'm tired. I am just kind of. It's like I said, it's an exhausting topic to talk about for myself. Um, I just kind of wish that abortion didn't exist because then all this manipulation and all this stuff with like you have to be a Donald Trump supporter if you're pro-life wouldn't be happening right now, if that makes sense. And that kind of gets into a little bit more what I want to talk about. There are a lot of people I know personally who didn't support Donald Trump in the primaries, but did in the general election. And the main reason for that would be the fact that um, he's against abortion, or at least he says he is. And my father and my mother were both people who were in that kind of category, and now they're solid Donald Trump supporters, and my mom especially is kind of a I don't know. I mean, she herself is kind of exhausted by all the gaslighting and the abuse, emotional abuse that is taking place in American culture right now. I mean, it is all just. I mean, you literally do not know who to trust, and at this point, my stance on like who to trust would have to be um mainstream news sources, not like alternative media, but if something smells fishy, like don't believe it, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm prone to my own bias as much as anyone else is at this point. Um, I mean, there is abuse that is most likely, I mean, I have a hard time believing that our current president isn't somewhat abusive himself, given that, like, he is kind of. I mean, all of this started with him. I somehow. I have a hard time believing that the origin of all of this abuse and all of this suffering in our country isn't our president, mainly because it wasn't really like this before 2016. Some of it probably is coming from the media. It possibly is coming from certain places where certain bad individuals are trying to manipulate the American public into believing the same way they do about current events. Um, it's really hard because you don't really know who your enemy is, because that one person over there says this is your enemy, and then the other person says that this is your enemy, and you don't really know who to believe, or if you should believe either of them, or if you should believe both of them, because it's just kind of like there's a conflict there between Donald Trump and the press, which is next to impossible to reconcile for your average human being, especially because the press is where we get so much of our information. Um, it's abusive. It's gaslighting to constantly be telling people, oh, that person is lying, and I don't know, like I said, with a solid 100% certainty where it's coming from, because it isn't easy. I believe in a free press. I really do, but I don't think the press should have the ability to manipulate the American public for the sake of views and for the sake of whatever special interests are trying to manipulate the American public right now. I think it might be a mixture of both a little bit. I don't know. I mean, the Atlantic story right now is the perfect picture of everything going on right now, with the Atlantic saying Donald Trump calling military service members who died in World War One suckers and losers, and Donald Trump himself and Sarah Huckabee Sanders denying that he ever said it. And now everyone's just kind of like, did he say it? Did he not say it? And it's just kind of like, oh, this boggles with your mind about the idea of reality. The pro-life subculture is kind of manipulative in its own way. Many of the people who are solidly pro-life genuinely do care about the unborn, and a lot of Democrats and a lot of pro-choice people don't seem to quite understand that. There are people that I have met who genuinely care about women, they genuinely care about babies, and they genuinely see themselves as saving lives. When they vote for Donald Trump, and when they just do pro-life things, when they do things like protest outside of abortion clinics, I know some people who don't do anything that harasses women, and I know that there are people who do such things, who just stand outside of abortion clinics and yell baby killer when a woman comes out of an abortion clinic. And I also know that there's people like my mom and dad, and there's people like my friends, though my friends don't really do it much at all. Just my people that I know who just kind of stand out there and pray, or just don't really do anything. I mean, I heard one woman say that she actually compliments women when they're on their way in and when they're on their way out. Just to kind of say, hey, you look beautiful today. Just that kind of thing. So, like, we're not all evil. There are also pro-life Democrats like myself who care about both the unborn and their mothers, and who seriously desire a better culture where every human being is valued. Doesn't that sound good? Like, I mean, a culture where nobody feels left out, nobody feels marginalized, everyone just knows that they are loved. And if you're looking for organizations that support similar causes like that, I would have to just say right now, I recommend New Wave Feminists, Democrats for Life, and there's a Facebook page called Whole Life, Pro-Life Democrats, Progressives, and Feminists. And these are honestly wonderful pages to follow, and they really make me feel happy to be a part of those movements. And even if I just follow them on social media, I'm honestly thinking about volunteering or something. Rehumanize International is another really good one that I recommend. And if you're looking for a political party that supports the whole life movement, I would say the American Solidarity Party is really good for that option. It's a third party. It's actually getting a little bit of traction, I think. I don't really know how they're polling right now. It's probably less than 1%, but you never know. I haven't checked at all. Thing is, voting only on abortion has the potential to rip apart our country. It literally has the potential, calling the other side baby killers, saying we can't vote for Democrats because they support abortion. That literally has the ability to send us into a civil war because they believe that we are woman haters and misogynists and that we are violating women's human right to get an abortion. And I don't necessarily believe that women have a human right to get an abortion, but I do believe that people believe that, and it's honestly quite frustrating to me because each side sees it as a human rights violation. You know, one side sees it as causing a baby who can't speak for itself an unbelievable amount of pain and death, and the other side sees it as causing a woman to feel enslaved, to feel forced to give birth, and to feel forced to be. And this whole issue literally has the ability to rip our country apart. And voting for a single issue like abortion doesn't take into account the possibility that a madman could literally say, oh, I'm pro-life, and the entire pro-life movement would be like, let's get behind him. And it's just like, I didn't even think that was a possibility. I was all for single issue voting, actually, until 2016, when I was like, okay, yeah, this is an open spot for manipulation. Even if Trump isn't manipulating us, even if he's genuinely pro-life, it is a genuine manipulation point. Single issue voting is a weakness, actually. It's not a strength. I don't recommend ever single issue voting on any one issue. If anyone ever tries to single issue on any one issue, they have the potential to be manipulating you. It's just kind of, I'm always very cautious when someone says vote only on this one issue, whether it be abortion, whether it be any other issue. It could be, I don't know, the death penalty. You can only vote on the death penalty. Like, no. Just don't. It's just, like I said, just be careful about those kinds of people because they have a strong chance of possibly be trying to convince you to vote partisan. And it's all politics. And there are people who play into that politics, but it's a political move, and you don't have to obey it. If any religious leader tells you that you cannot vote a certain way for the sake of, like, if you have a religious leader who tells you you can't vote Republican, that is just as bad as saying that you can't vote Democrat, because saying that is, religion isn't supposed to be mixed up in political parties. It isn't supposed to be wrapped up in any particular candidate. And to say that religion is wrapped up in any particular candidate and to not criticize each side equally is to say that, like, one side is better than the other, and it's playing into partisan politics, and that's obviously, it's a temptation for the church to get involved with that. It's a temptation for other people, anyone really, to fall into partisan politics, but it's not a good thing. My video may not be the most powerful video ever. There might be blog posts or videos or whatever that are a lot better than me at getting this point across, but I still feel like I have to speak out because this is abuse, and this is tragic, and it should not be happening. These people all believe they have God on their side. Some of them do, some of them don't, but they all believe they do, and that's kind of dangerous because if they don't, then, well, then you have a problem. I mean, like, I can think of biblical stories where people thought they had God on their side, and then they didn't, and they got themselves decimated. At the end of the day, the people who were hurt were themselves. So be a little careful about believing that, like, God is absolutely on one side or the other, because there are a lot of people who say that, oh, we have God on our side, and the truth is they really just don't. And I don't mean this to say that you have to vote Democrat and you don't have to vote Republican, you don't have to vote Democrat, because you don't even have to vote for the American Solidarity Party. You don't have to vote for any one candidate. Vote your conscience. That is always what's best. Conscience rights comes first when it comes to voting and when it comes to politics. This is the problem. People are taking away people's ability to vote their consciences by demanding single issue voting on abortion or any other issue. If your conscience tells you to single issue vote because the issue is just too big, then I guess that's okay. But don't let people manipulate you into single issue voting. Don't take away other people's ability to vote their consciences. Don't push your conscience on the other people, because other people have valid consciences too. It is controlling, manipulative, and downright abusive, and nobody has the right to take away another person's conscience rights. So, this video got intense. I hope it was informational. If you have any questions, I'm definitely making another video on this topic. I think I'm gonna make a story on why I personally am no longer a Republican. So this will be interesting. I don't really know what my political identity is right now. It's just like everything, especially when it comes to abortion, is just one big muddy puddle. So that's fun. If anyone has any questions, ask away in the comment section, and I'll answer them in another video. No hate though, please. Bye. Peace.